What is up, Nerd Nation? It's your boy Hunter here from Film Nerd TV, and tonight we are doing another episode of the Nerd List. Last week we did the best DC movie villains. Tonight it's the opposite. We're going over to the mouse. We're going over to the Overlord himself, Disney, and we're talking about best Marvel movie villains. Now, I am not alone. Of course, I cannot do this list by myself. I am joined again by the Hobbit, Robert Parker. How's it going, man?
It's going really well. I'm looking forward to hop into this one. This one was a lot harder than last week, so I'm ready.
Yeah. And somebody new who's making his debut on my channel, please welcome Jay. Jay, how's it going, man?
What's going on, y'all? Not a whole lot, man. I took a little bit of time with this list, and like I was saying earlier, it might be a little, some of my choices might be a little crazy, but I can't wait to see what y'all think.
All right, definitely. And we will have Chance the Titan Ellison joining us. He is kind of occupied right now, so when he gets home, he will hop in. So, if before we start, let's go over what the Nerd List is for our new watchers. Pretty much, it is our top 7 list. So we have our nomination process. If it gets both 2 of us to say yes, it is in our top 10. After we have our top 10 filled out, we are going to eliminate 3 choices, knocking it down to our top 7. And then our top 7, we're going to rank from 7 to 1. All right, so let's start off with Jay, since he is new to the channel. Go ahead and nominate your first pick.
So my first pick, to tell you the truth, is gonna be Iron Man 3's The Mandarin. Both Trevor Slattery and Aldrich Killian. They are basically 2 sides to the same coin. That's why I chose both of them, because you kind of have Aldrich Killian as the man in the background, whereas you have Trevor Slattery with that, I don't know, there's just something about him, especially when he hits with that "you'll never see me coming," that you really just, he seems like a menacing character, and then you find out but the man behind him truly is, and that's why he's my number 10. That's why he's my first he's my first choice for the list.
All right, let's go on to Robert for his first nominate, or his first choice. Yes or no for the Mandarin Iron Man 3?
No, absolutely not. I definitely think it's cheating to pick both of them, and either way, neither of them are in my side list of nominations. I respect your opinions for sure. I can kind of see how you could make an argument for Trevor Slattery because he's quotable, but I think this is one of the worst examples of a Marvel villain in the MCU specifically. So I'm gonna say absolutely not for me.
Yeah, I'm in the exact same boat, man. Iron Man 3 is not a bad movie. I actually like that movie, but the worst part of that movie is the villain, the Mandarin, because they started off so well with the Mandarin, played by Sir Ben Kingsley. He's menacing and all that, and they flush it right down the shitter with him being a paid actor and, you know, being high all the time and drunk and with models, that it kind of ruined the illusion for me. So it's definitely a no for me.
I understand that. I respect that. That's why I said him first. I kind of figured that he wouldn't make the list, but I also didn't want to try. I didn't want to run the risk of, hey, look, no, I had this idea as well.
But, yeah, of course.
All right, Robert, on to you.
All right, I'm coming out of the gate swinging. Michael Fassbender's portrayal of Magneto, I think, is the most layered and complex villain. Definitely the most complex villain from any Marvel movie ever. I think, you know, we meet the character in First Class, really just trying to get revenge. He's a hero through a lot of First Class, but by the end of the film, he completely betrays his friends and goes full villain by killing Sebastian Shaw. Obviously, in Days of Future Past, he's full-on villain, and then in Apocalypse, you know, we see a good side of him, and then again he turns villain. he's a character that we really understand because bad things happen to him. He wants to be a good person. He tries to be a good person, but situationally, nothing goes his way ever. So he just turns to violence and hatred. So Michael Fassbender's version of Magneto, I think, absolutely needs to be on this list.
All right, I'm gonna start. He made my list. And you're absolutely correct, Robert. Very layered villain, and you really understand why he's there. You understand what his motivations are, and at the same time, you know that he's a villain. You know that he is the complete opposite of Charles Xavier, which is what he needed to be. Michael Fassbender kills this role, so it's gonna be a yes for me. Jay?
I mean, it's gonna be a yes for me as well, but I don't necessarily think that he's villainous per se throughout a majority of the movie, like you were stating. He took on more. Michael Fassbender in the first one, in First Class, took on more of an anti-hero role to me than a full-out villainous role. Yeah, he killed Sebastian Shaw, but I mean, what do you expect? He grew up in a concentration camp and watched his mom die. Like, revenge is revenge, and even a good guy will take that revenge if given the opportunity. And some will let you live, some won't. But yeah, it's a yeah for me. And surprisingly, he didn't even make my list. Like, not that he doesn't deserve to be on my list. I just went a different route with my list. But yeah,
Yeah. All right, so Magneto as Michael Fassbender makes it onto the list. He is our first in our top 10. Let me write that down real quick. Okay, now it's on to me. I'm going to start off with a very unique one. Okay, so this is a movie that I don't really like. It's enjoyable for what it is, but it's not a good movie by any stretch of the imagination. But in my opinion, it has one of the better villains we've seen in a while at that time. I'm going to say the Kingpin, played by Michael Clark Duncan in Daredevil 2003.
R.I.P.
Now, yes, the movie is not that good. But if you look at the Kingpin character, Michael Clark Duncan steals the whole damn movie with his portrayal of Wilson Fisk. He's strong. He's tough. The dude looks like he could absolutely kill you, which he will. But at the same time, he's a politician. He works behind the scenes. He is the two sides of the greater coin, and he is a great villain to go up against Matt Murdock's Daredevil. So yeah, that's my pick is Michael Clark Duncan's Kingpin from Daredevil 2003. Jay?
I can tell you this, he made my list. He made my list specifically for the last fight scene that he and Ben Affleck have, where they completely demolish the entirety of their room. He just has this persona, this air about him, not even necessarily that he could crush you, just this dominating presence. And that's kind of what you look for in a villain, not necessarily something completely over the top, but definitely somebody that could intimidate you and maybe make you change your mind just by the way they position themselves. So yeah, it's a yes for me.
Robert?
I actually would have said no. Made my honorable mentions, but did not make my personal top 10. I actually think that Bullseye is a better villain in this movie than Kingpin. I think Bullseye does more villainous things than Kingpin. I mean, really, Wilson Fisk and Michael Clark Duncan, good performance, but we don't really see him do bad things until that last scene. I mean, we hear about things that he's done, but we don't really see him in action. So it would have been a no for me, but still understand and respect that it's on.
Okay, so yep, Kingpin makes the list. So now we go back over to Jay.
All right, so My next one's probably going to be another weird one. And I don't know if you'll have a problem with this one, but I said the Sentinels from X3 and Days of Future Past. Just because they are mindless mutant manglers whose sole purpose is to eradicate mutants off of the face of the planet. And you really, if you're looking at it from just any sort of standpoint, if genocide is thing number one on your list, you're a bad person. You're a bad thing. And maybe I should have chosen Bolivar Trask as the individual who invented them, but I still feel like the Sentinels themselves are evil machination than Bolivar Trask was.
Okay, so we have up for nomination the Sentinels. Robert?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I didn't really think about the Sentinels themselves. I did think about Bolivar Trask, and I do think that it puts more of a face to the villain character. Like, yeah, the Sentinels do terrible things, but like they're mindless. They're not really layered. They're not really making their own choices. They're just like mutant killing robots. So like I definitely think they do villainous things, but I don't think like they should really. I don't think they as a collective really need to be on this list. So I'm gonna say no.
On to me. Yeah, I didn't even think of the Sentinels because, again, I think of Trask instead of the Sentinels themselves. Just like, I guess I'd rather have a face behind, like Robert was saying, a face behind the Sentinels. So for me, it's going to be a no, just because, as I said before, you got to have that face to
I completely understand. But I didn't want to switch right in the middle of it after I said Sentinels.
Yeah, of course.
But it seems like,
yeah. The pick makes sense. The nomination makes sense. It's worth bringing him up.
All right, Robert, on to you.
My next one, I'm going to go again swinging for the fences. Dr. Otto Octavius, a.k.a. Doc Ock from Spider-Man 2. The best Spider-Man movie. The best Spider-Man villain that we've seen on screen. Alfred Molina, one of the best performances of a villain in any superhero movie. A villain who, we first meet as an actual character, as the Doctor, as a mentor to Peter, as a master of fusion. We see him really create an AI that hacks his brain, which is really cool. Good CGI, actual villainous things, kidnaps Aunt May. What more is there to say? This is an incredible villain. Gotta go, Dr. Otto Octavius.
All right, Jay. Otto Octavius is on the list.
Oh, he made my list. Like, legitimately, he made my list. And he really is one of the most sympathetic villains that you could see in a movie. Because I feel bad for the guy throughout a majority of the movie because he is basically being controlled by the chip that controls the arms. And I wanted to see him in something else. I wanted to see them bring him back, but it's an impossibility at this point in time. But yeah, he makes my list. So that's a yes for me.
Oh, and it's definitely a yes. It would have been a yes for me anyway. Made my list. One of the better villains of the original Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. From a great movie in Spider-Man 2, great portrayal by Alfred Molina.
Yep.
And just all-around perfect character. All right, so Dr. Octopus makes the list. You put that down. Okay, so my next one is another out of the ball field one. And again, it's from a movie that, hey, Chance finally made it. Hey, Chance, you there, man?
He'll pop in, I'm sure. There he is.
There he is. You need a rundown real quick of what's on the list?
Sure. Give me a rundown.
All right, so we have Magneto, Michael Fassbender, Kingpin, Michael Clark Duncan from Daredevil 2003, and Dr. Octopus from Spider-Man 2.
The hell are we talking about?
What?
What are we? Wait, what's the topic?
Counting down Marvel villains.
Oh, Marvel villains. Okay, I'm sorry.
Marvel villain.
That was Marvel movies. My bad.
No, Marvel villains.
Marvel movie villains. There you go.
Okay, so fair enough.
All right, so now it's on me. My next one is from a movie that nobody likes, but I feel like he was a great villain in it again, and it's Sandman from Spider-Man 3.
Fuck you.
Now, I know Spider-Man 3 is not a great movie whatsoever, but the parts of the movies that I enjoyed, and a lot of people did enjoy, was Sandman himself. You felt sympathetic for the character. He looks badass. The CGI was really good for the time. It still kind of is, when I go back and watch it, if I ever do. But he was a badass villain that made you care about Sandman. It was something that a lot of people didn't even know Sandman at the time. But you felt sympathetic for him, and he was still a bad guy that did bad things, but you understood why he did them. So Sandman is on the chopping block. Let's start off with Chance. I already know his answer.
Okay, so hold on. Who's on the list so far?
Michael Fassbender's Magneto, Kingpin, and Doc Ock.
Ugh. Kingpin? Seriously? Okay,
That's
whatever.
what I said.
And how many spots?
10 nominations, then we take
10
off
nominations, and then knock off 3 to
10
top 7.
nominations. Okay, even with 10 nominations, Sandman gets a fuck now.
All right. Jay?
I like Thomas Hayden Church. I didn't hate Spider-Man 3.
Oh, kiss my ass, Jay.
I didn't hate it. That didn't mean I fucking loved it. Okay?
But it means you liked it. But it means you liked it.
It means I disliked the movie, but that doesn't mean that I loathe the movie, okay? But it's still gonna be a no for me, even though he is one of those. They try to portray him as a sympathetic villain. It just didn't work for me. Like a majority didn't work for me.
Yeah.
And Robert?
He is the best part of Spider-Man 3.
That's not hard to do.
He's still bad, though. He is the least terrible part of a bad movie.
Horrible movie.
Thomas Hayden Church did not give a good performance. They tried too hard to make him sympathetic. They tried too hard to tie him directly to Spider-Man's origin.
Yeah.
This is a no.
Yeah. I didn't expect it to be on there, but I had to throw it out there somewhere.
Okay.
Chance?
Do MCU villains count, or is just
Of
like
course.
Marvel?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
all Marvel.
You and Marvel.
Okay, all Marvel. All right. But that being said, okay. Here's the thing about Electro, guys. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding.
God, I would reach through the screen and punch you. Chance, you know how much I hate Amazing Spider-Man 2.
No, I know. That's a lot better.
That's way worse than Spider-Man 3.
Oh, no. I'll fight you on that one any day of the week. But no, my next one is my favorite Marvel villain of the year from, I think, the best Marvel movie of the year, one of the best movies of the year, period. Killmonger from Black Panther. Because I think they hit a chord with Killmonger that they hadn't really hit with any villain prior to this, where you really not only do you see where it's coming from, he says things that really, really make sense. And I think that's what makes him just super intimidating and super badass. And not to mention, Michael B. Jordan gives an absolutely just fantastic performance in the film. So yeah, my next vote goes to Killmonger.
Robert?
Yep.
Yep. Just
Chance said it all. Yep.
No context? Okay. Yeah, I'm going to me.
Said it all.
He definitely he was in my list. One of my favorite MCU movies of all time is Black Panther. I know that's going to be kind of sacrilegious to some people, but I absolutely love that movie. And one of the reasons why I love that movie is Michael B. Jordan's portrayal of Killmonger, just absolutely incredible. Jay, what would you have said?
I don't even know what you're talking about. It took all my money. It can take all the yeses. The fact that one of his outfits was inspired by I'm trying not to cuss as much as I normally do. The fact that they took inspiration for one of his outfits from Vegeta from Dragon Ball Z would have been enough.
Really?
Yeah, would have been enough for him to get a yes from me.
Okay, so Killmonger makes it into the list. Okay, so now we go back over to Jay.
My next one is going to be William Stryker, Brian Cox from the X-Men franchise. For the fact that he wanted to kind of cure mankind. He's the reason why we have Wolverine in the X program. But the fact that he manipulated his son in the way that he manipulates his son into doing his dirty work for him, just there's something about a manipulative individual that really kind of makes me dislike everything about you personally. And you'll see this you'll see this commonly on my list. A lot of my list isn't like a super powered individual, and I think this is one of the reasons why, because you don't have to have a superpower, you don't have to have a super suit to be a truly evil individual, and what he wanted to do, in my opinion, was just truly evil. That's why he makes my list as a villain. He might not have been the best villain of all time when it comes to any sort of Marvel movie, but he is still a legit villain to me.
Okay, so William Stryker. Robert, what do you say?
This was really tough. This was my number 11 when I ordered my list. Yeah, this is really difficult. I agree with everything you're saying as far as he manipulates his son Jason to kill, or to attempt to kill all of the mutants, then to attempt to kill all of the humans. Like, there's a lot that goes into this. He is much more of a scheming, diabolical villain than he is a physical threat to the heroes. It's barely not on my top 10, but I'm still gonna say yes. I do think that this is the best version of the character, although I did for a second think about Danny Houston, because he's the one who actually made Wolverine like forget all his memories and stuff. But I am gonna say yes, that Stryker from X2 does deserve to be on here.
All right, Chance. We have 2 yeses.
Yeah, this is a tough one actually, because yeah, I do agree with everything you're saying, and yeah, I do really. X2 is my favorite X-Men movie. I think a big part of that is Brian Cox as William Stryker. I think he's just fantastic. Trying to think if there's any. Yeah, I'll give him a yes. I'll put him on the list.
Okay, William Stryker makes the list.
Fuck William Stryker. I make the list. It's about damn time.
Oh, you didn't pick Kingpin?
I picked Kingpin. I picked Doc Ock. But
No. This is the first one that he nominated that made it on. The other ones that he nominated was the Mandarin and what was the other one? The Sentinels. Yeah, the Sentinels.
So I take it Hunter nominated Kingpin.
Yep.
Yes.
Like I said in my argument, Daredevil was not a good movie, but he steals the movie.
Is the movie worth stealing though? Either case, let's keep moving.
All right, back to Robert.
All right. Let's see. One. So we have 5 on, right?
Yep, we have 5 more.
Okay. Even though he's a little bit new, I think it bears saying that Thanos is easily one of the best MCU villains, easily one of the best superhero villains of all time. We've seen him building for the last 6 years, and we finally see him in action full-fledged in Infinity War. But I'm not just talking about Josh Brolin in Infinity War. Also, if you look at Guardians of the Galaxy, that entire villainous plot of that movie was fueled behind the scenes by Thanos. Plus, we see him be a physical threat. Plus, we see him be a diabolical threat in Infinity War. I think what Thanos has done as a character to comic book movies warrants him being on this list.
All right, so we're going to go over to Chance.
Okay. Had Thanos been voiced by James Earl Jones, it would be a yes for me. But Thanos is voiced by Josh Brolin, and it's still a yes for me, because yeah, you're right. Like, Thanos is just he's an absolute badass. He is awesome. Like, Infinity War was his movie through and through, and you can clearly see why. Like, he's one of the most interesting characters, not just in that movie, but in the MCU, just period. Especially from a villain standpoint, the dude is fantastic, and yeah, absolutely deserves a spot on this list.
All right, so that's 2 votes for Thanos. Jay?
Does he have a helicopter with his name on the side of it? The answer is yes. If I don't see a Thanos copter, or I don't see him get arrested by some regular ass cops, I might have to come back and change my mind. But right now, it's a yes.
List. I would have said yes also. Pretty much repeat what everyone else said. All right, so it's back on me now, I believe. Yes.
So.
All right. I'm going with one where. All right, I'm gonna go Magneto, played by Ian McKellen in the original X-Men trilogies. Because yes, we have Michael Fassbender on here, and you care about Fassbender's characters. They made you feel for him. They do the exact same thing with Ian McKellen, and thing is, he is even more of a badass character in the original X-Men movies. This dude is sick and tired of the human race treating mutants the way that they're treating them. So he's going to kill, maim, do whatever he can to take over and, in his mind, save mutant kind. Just for that reason alone, I feel like Ian McKellen's Magneto should be on the list. The dude does not give a shit. He wants to murder, the human race for treating the mutants like they're not a part of the community, for treating them like that, and that portrayal was just incredible. So that's who I'm bringing up. Robert?
Yes. Yeah. This was my number 5 on my personal list. While I think there are definitely times where he appears in and is not a villain, i.e. Days of Future Past and parts of X2, I think in the original X-Men and especially in Last Stand, he shines as a villain and 100% needs to be on this list.
Yep. All right, Jay?
Sucked the iron out of Old Boy's blood, out of his body. That right there cemented him as probably one of the coolest villains in movie history in my memory. He always will have a special spot in my heart for being the original Magneto. Every time I read an X-Men comic book, all I can hear is Ian McKellen's voice. So yeah, he gets a yes from me.
All right, so Magneto, Ian McKellen makes it. Chance, what would you have said?
I would have also given him a yes.
All right, awesome. So next we go back over to Chance for his pick.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna go with a little unconventional one here. I'm gonna go with the biggest enemy of the Fantastic Four, 20th Century Fox. 20th Century Fox needs to be on this list.
Does not count.
Oh, come on.
Oh, sure it does.
Right. If I can't go with that one, I'll go with my next pick. Even though nobody has screwed over a hero more than 20th Century Fox. I'm gonna go with what used to be the cream of the crop of MCU villain, but he's still pretty badass. I'm going with Loki. Loki, played by Tom Hiddleston, injected when he first popped on Thor, he injected such a unique perspective into the MCU. And you actually hear the screenwriters, Ashley Miller and Zack Stentz, talk about it. Kevin Feige actually told them, if you fail at everything else, give us a villain as good as Magneto. And I think they really delivered, because like, you empathize with him, you see where he's coming from, you understand why he's doing things he's doing. He's charismatic, he's enigmatic, he's just a phenomenal joy to watch. And I think that's what makes him such popular characters, because he brings people in and he manages to captivate an audience. So I'm going with Loki.
Okay, Robert?
Yep. Yeah. Even though I think as of late, Loki has not been as much of a villain. He had like one villainous thing, Thor Ragnarok, but
in those first,
I know,
two
yeah,
movies.
I know. That's what I'm getting there. Hold your horses, bud. I think ultimately, yeah, in Thor and in Avengers, and even throughout Thor: The Dark World, he absolutely shines as a villain. Tom Hiddleston is fantastic. Yeah, needs to be on this list. He was my number 4, so yeah.
All right. So I'm going to me. Of course, Loki makes the list. He is in my list. I haven't seen a villain in a very long time capture. I'm sorry. Like really take control and take over as much as Loki did in pop culture. Especially since when Loki first started, you know, when the first Thor movie came out, nobody knew who Loki was. And if they did, they were huge comic fans. And even then, we were like, you know, how are they going to portray Loki? You know, could this be done? It is absolutely perfect. Tom Hiddleston kills the role of Loki. And yes, definitely, it's a yes for me. So, Jay, what would you have said?
I think the most evil thing Loki's done recently is be reminded of that time when he was 8 years old and he turned into a snake, had his brother pick him up, and then stab him.
Because I love snakes.
Because I love snakes. Yes, I have to agree with Robert. He has taken a turn for the better, for lack of a better word, but yeah, definitely taking over Dr. Selvig and Hawkeye in the first movie, and then bringing the Chitauri army to Earth. It works for me. It's a yeah, but at the exact same point in time, an argument might be made for, or was that Loki working on behalf of Thanos? And we already have Thanos on the list. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding, by the way. But yeah, it's a yes for me. You're muted,
All right,
bro.
so next we're going to Jay.
Okay, so this is another weird one for me, but I chose Alexander Pierce, World Security Council, Hydra agent. Because he basically, like I said, my list is going to have more of a human element to it than a superpowered element to it. He basically was 90% of the way to turning SHIELD, the world's largest intelligence agency, the world's largest spy organization, into nothing but a puppet for Hydra. They were literally about to take out so many people. If it wasn't for certain things, it probably would have happened. And that's what makes him evil. He's the one who everything to have the Winter Soldier kill Nick Fury. He used all of his connections, whether it be in our government or with Hydra, to become probably one of the most powerful men in the MCU. Again, without any superpowers, just this need or this love for megalomania.
All right, I'm going next. Absolutely. If you wouldn't have said him, I was going to say him next. Behind the scenes, you know, really cool, calm, collected, but at the end of the day, as Jay said, he is the guy who pretty much single-handedly took down SHIELD and allowed Hydra to take over. And that's the scariest thing about that movie is you didn't know that half of SHIELD was Hydra and he was running Hydra. And when that reveal happens, it shocked everybody in the theater I was in. It shocked me personally. So yes, definitely for me. Robert?
This is an interesting one. Because I think there's at least one other MCU villain that needs to be on here before Pierce, and there's 2 spots left. I think you guys are giving Pierce a little bit too much credit. I think Zola had way more to do with SHIELD, or with Hydra growing inside SHIELD, and with the Winter Soldier stuff. Like, Pierce definitely had a role in it, but I think Zola, if it was Zola, I would have said yes. I don't think I can say yes to Pierce.
All right, so there's 2 yeses for Alexander Pierce, 1 no. Chance?
Yeah, this is like right over the top for me. Cause I'm looking at the Rolodex of Marvel films, and it's not a question of whether or not he gets on, whether or not I think there are villains that can take his spot.
Yes.
And I think no, I'm giving Pierce a no.
Okay, since it's a tie, he doesn't make it on.
Although Robert Redford is a great actor.
Yeah,
Oh,
he did a really good
Yeah.
job.
Yeah.
So good in that role.
It was a good twist. It was a way better twist than that Mandarin crap.
All right, Chance, on to you.
Okay. This is a tough one because I'm debating between two, one MCU and one non-MCU. Because I like this guy more, I'm gonna go with him. So I'm going with another more recent Marvel villain, and it's kind of touching upon what things that Jay brought up. Being not like a big superpowered bad guy, but this is, I think, an interesting one because it's the everyman villain. That is Adrian Toomes, aka the Vulture, from Spider-Man: Homecoming. First of all, Michael Keaton in that movie he's absolutely fantastic. I'm so glad that they decided not to kill him and to bring him back for the sequel. Second of all, I think he lends an interesting villain perspective we haven't seen yet. We haven't seen a villain like that where it's it's like the other guy. It's like the guy you find walking like the Rocky of superhero villains. Like we don't see that all the time in comic villains, and I think that's what made him such a breath of fresh air. In that it's kind of like like a fight the man type of villain. So yeah, I'm pitching Adrian Toomes, aka Vulture, for top 10.
All right, Jay, we have Vulture.
See, now this is a tough one because I actually thoroughly enjoyed Keaton in this role. There's just something about a crazy Keaton that'll always just try to pull me in.
I just fell over the gate.
I've got to go no, though. He didn't do enough for me as a villain. Like, monologued a little bit more. Yes, he was menacing in certain points, but actually, no, I'm gonna change that. That's a yeah. After he kills old boy, I'm re-going over the movie in my head right now. Don't give me that look.
He blows the dude up.
After he blows the dude up, and he's like, I thought this was the anti-grav gun. No, when he brandishes the pistol at Peter, you can't really tell whether that's a menacing move or that's a have my daughter home by 11:59, not midnight.
Trust me, I've been in that car before. It's bring her home at 11:59.
She'll be home at 11:58, 59 seconds. And leaving him in the rubble at the end of the film when Spider-Man has that moment that just mirrors the comic book cover. Yeah, it's a yeah for me.
That's the first time we've ever seen someone say no and then immediately change it after going over the movie.
I had to go back over.
Go next. It's a yes for me. I had him on my list, as Chance said. He is the everyday guy who was driven mad by a situation that was out of his control. Tony Stark and the Stark Enterprise took his job and took his way of providing for his family away. Now he went about the complete wrong way and went to life of crime and as Jay brought up, villainy, because he pointed a pistol at Peter because he knew that Peter was Spider-Man. He walked through the steps and it finally hit him. The final battle was incredible. Michael Keaton is so good in this role. So yeah, it's a yes for me. So Robert, what would you have said?
It would have been a no for me. I don't think Vulture is much of a villain. He's more of a upgraded thug. Like I don't think he really is that menacing or that important to Peter's story. His best scene is the scene in the car before the dance, and that's just him being a father. That's not even him being a villain. I think the final battle is way too much CGI soup, and you can't tell what's happening. The action is really poorly done, in my opinion.
Hot take by Robert.
Well, this isn't a hot take. I'm not the only person who thinks that the ending of Spider-Man: Homecoming was disappointing. So he's a good villain. I do not think he's in the top 15 Marvel villains for me.
Wow, but Vulture still makes the list for Spider-Man Homecoming. Put that down. All right, so now it's coming to me. We got one spot left.
Wait, didn't Jade just go? Oh no, Chance just went. Didn't
No, I just went.
Yeah,
Okay.
Chance just went. So now it's back to me. I'm going to throw this out here. I don't know what you guys think about it, but this is literally the last one I have on my list. So I'm picking William Dafoe's Green Goblin / Norman Osborn from the original Spider-Man movies. You talk about a villain who is in control of everything, who is menacing, who is downright psychotic. The dude talks to himself. The dude really is fucked up in his mind. And you talk about taking one of the greatest Spider-Man villains in the Green Goblin, and Willem Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe.
Really, Willem Dafoe. Yeah,
not William.
Willem. Sorry. He really portrays that character of the mild-mannered Norman Osborn, and then that crazy, psychotic Green Goblin part of him. So, like I said, this is the last one on my list. So, let's go on to Robert.
This is the one that should be there instead of Vulture, because there's one other MCU movie besides Vulture that I want to have on.
What are you talking about?
The Only Women, because I don't hate people.
I know what you mean now.
I know you're going now.
Way better than Vulture, but I still have to say yes because Spider-Man is one of the most important movies for me. It's one of the movies that I have watched the most. I don't think 2002 Spider-Man has aged the best, but you also see the duality of both Norman Osborn and the Green Goblin. They really are separate characters, and the psyche of the Green Goblin invading Norman Osborn, I think, is really well done. So I have to say yes.
All right, Jay.
You said the man was in control of everything. First off, no, he wasn't. He wasn't even in control of his own mind. Second off, he loses his shit when he gets kicked off of his own board because he can't keep shit under control. It's gonna be a no for me, man. He was just too over the top. And yes, I know the Green Goblin is one of those kind of over the top villains, but it's just gonna be no for me. I'm sorry. Like he was the part I liked the least about the original Spider-Man trilogy.
Worse than Venom?
With the exception of the entire third movie.
Yes.
Well, I don't have something Jay said. Like Jay said, like Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin was over the top. I think that was a stylistic choice. I think that was, something that was like an intentional thing. Because like you look at Willem Dafoe, like Willem Dafoe, he was like born to play a supervillain.
Yes, yes, he was.
He is someone who was just like genetically engineered to be a comic book character, and I think him as Green Goblin it's going to be possibly like lukewarm take right here. Possibly my favorite villain of the Spider-Man trilogy, of the Raimi trilogy. Like I think he's fun. I think he's enigmatic. I really do like the duality. I think that's really in part to Willem Dafoe's acting. Like he does not get enough credit for just how good he is in those Spider-Man movies. Like him as Green Goblin, it's a yes for me.
All right, we have our 10. Green Goblin is in.
The best villain from the Spider-Man movies outside of Alfred Molina's Doc Ock is the guy who shoots Uncle Ben.
Nah, it's Sony. It's Sony. Sony's the biggest Spider-Man villain.
Okay, so I'm going to go over our top 10 real quick. So we have Magneto, Michael Fassbender. We have Kingpin, Michael Clark Duncan from Daredevil. Dr. Octopus, from Spider-Man 2. Killmonger from Black Panther. William Stryker. Thanos, Magneto, Ian McKellen. Loki, Vulture, and the Green Goblin from the original Spider-Man movies. So now we have to take our top 10 and bump
Can we
it down.
do honorable mentions quick?
Huh?
Can we do honorable mentions real quick?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Go ahead. Robert, some honorable mentions.
Okay, well, Hela should have been on this list instead of the Vulture, but I guess you all hate women. Let's see.
Hashtag me too.
Actually, Sabretooth from X-Men Origins Wolverine is actually really well done by Liev Schreiber.
Lee Schreiber's good in that.
The Bug, played by Vincent D'Onofrio in Men in Black, Callahan from Blade 6, Ebony Maw from Infinity War, Bolivar Trask, who we did talk about but never got nominated, and then Ulysses Klaw by Andy Serkis, just because it's Andy Serkis and it's on brand for me to bring it up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What's funny is the only one I had left in my honorable mentions was Ebony Maw. I just like the way.
Hella?
Not Hela. I didn't like Hela in Ragnarok. I didn't. She was okay.
Justice League also in top 5 comic movies last year, so don't listen to Hunter.
I like Thor Ragnarok. I like the movie. I just feel like they could have done so much more and showed more of Hela in that movie. Okay. She's way underused.
Honorable mentions from me. I think Deacon Frost from Blade is pretty fun.
Yeah.
Stephen Dorff?
Yeah, Stephen Dorff. I know it's not a good performance, but hey, there's something about Stephen Dorff that I find fascinating. I brought 20th Century Fox for Elektra and Fantastic Four.
That was an actual pick.
Huh?
That was an actual pick.
That should have been on there.
You got a yes for me on that
one. Actually, 20th Century Fox for a lot of things. I also want to throw in.
Owned by Disney now, apparently.
Yeah, also Scott Buck, the showrunner of Iron Fist Season 1 and Inhuman Season 1.
This is movies.
This is movies.
And whoever kicked Josh Trank out of the director's chair, Fantastic Four. So I get 20th Century Fox again.
The studio head who gave him the boot.
Okay, we gotta do like worst studios now.
Fox and Sony. Yeah, there's your list.
Yeah, that's it. That's all we need.
All right, Jay.
My honorable mentions include Victor Von Doom by Julian McMahon, the original. Yeah, hate all you want. I like the fact that he was more of one of those people that you could honestly see trying to kill somebody, and I fucking hate it.
Yes.
Ever since
he was trying to kill the audience.
Yeah, fair enough. I also have Dormammu.
Yeah, I had yeah.
I'm different about Dormammu actually. Look.
And I'm thinking the Dormammu from the 2007 animated movie, not necessarily Doctor Strange. But I mean, really, all they did was take the 63-minute version of the Doctor Strange story for the animated version and turn it into an almost 2-hour-long movie. I have the Winter Soldier, the brainwashed Bucky Barnes, on my list as well. Obadiah Stane also makes my list.
Yeah. Very
he has possibly my favorite quote of any MCU villains. Like, Tony Stark built this in a cave with a box of scraps.
I also have just a cheeky in reference for my last one, and it is Fang Foom.
Fang Foom.
Because he is technically a villain, and he is technically in a Marvel movie. He shows up in that big ass poster of the dragon in the fight between Ironmonger and Iron Man at the very last second. But wait, let me see. Let me double check. I gotta show some love for Bolivar Trask as well. Like, we did mention him, and I think I should have made him instead of the Sentinels my choice, but I still stand by what I said.
Okay, so now that the honorable mentions are out of the way, we gotta knock our top 10 down to our top 7. So that means we have to eliminate 3 characters. So everybody write down the character that you want to be eliminated.
Oh, this is easy.
This is very easy.
Can I get another rundown on the people we have left?
Oh, you need a rundown?
I can do it.
Okay.
So, correct me if I'm wrong. So these are the 10 that we have on: Michael Fassbender's Magneto, Kingpin, Doc Ock, Killmonger, Brian Cox's William Stryker, Thanos, Ian McKellen's Magneto, Loki, Vulture, and Green Goblin.
That's correct. Yep.
So we vote which one we want out.
Mm-hmm. All right. Everyone ready?
Yeah.
Oh, do I need to write it down?
Just because I know you assholes are gonna take
You
him
can
off.
just go to it first, Jay. We can go to you first.
Oh,
If you
Okay.
don't have anything to write down.
I don't, but as soon as I get done saying this, it is probably going to be Kingpin for me as well. Let me go grab my whiteboard.
Yeah,
I think
Kingpin, get the fuck out.
Yeah, we're unanimous.
In the first place.
I'm just glad he made the top 10.
He shouldn't have.
He definitely should not have.
I'm not even
The
gonna talk
fact that he was brought up before Killmonger, Thanos, Loki, all these other villains is a fucking crime.
All I'm saying is that Bullseye is a better villain in that movie because he actually kills Elektra.
No. Kingpin is fucking awful.
Kingpin is awful, you're right.
He is. Like, you're right.
Maybe it's been so long
Alright,
since I watched the movie, but didn't Kingpin hire Bullseye?
Yep.
Yes.
So technically, that would mean without Kingpin, there would be no Bullseye. Kingpin's still a good villain. No.
We're missing the point. Still shitty. It's still a bad movie.
Okay, everybody. Let's vote for the other one off. Okay.
Hold on, gotta take a look at the list again.
Is everyone good?
Hold on.
Alrighty.
Okay, I got it.
All right, Robert,
Vulture.
Jay,
Loki.
Chance.
Stryker.
I also have Stryker.
Oh.
So Stryker is eliminated.
Boo.
All right, who's
The
left?
only one that Jake on the list is eliminated.
It's both Magneto's, Killmonger, Vulture, Thanos, Green Goblin, Doc Ock. Who's the last one?
Yeah.
And Loki.
Loki. I said Loki.
Yeah.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah, you had it.
Okay, this one is gonna get real hard now.
Shit.
I know.
Man, this is actually genuinely tough.
It is getting really hard. You know what? All right. Jay,
Green Goblin.
Chance,
Doc Ock.
Robert.
Vulture.
I have Green Goblin.
Fuck.
Are you serious?
He
Oh.
shouldn't have been on the list. He wasn't that good of a villain.
Well, now there's Kingpin or Vulture.
That's why Kingpin got eliminated early.
That's why he was the first one gone.
Okay, so now the final 7 we have are both Magnetos, Fassbender and Ian McKellen. We have Doc Ock, Killmonger, Thanos, Loki, and Vulture.
Okay.
So now vote for number 7.
Wow, I wish I could spell.
Chance,
Doc Ock.
Jay,
Vulture.
Robert.
Vulture.
I also have Vulture.
Ah, fuck.
He can't get him off the list, so you might as well make him the lowest.
Vulture makes number 7. So now vote for number 6. All right. So I'll start. I have Thanos.
Wow.
Robert,
Loki.
Jay,
Loki.
Fuck.
Chance.
All right, then. Doc Ock again.
Okay, so Loki is number 6. All right. Number 5. Is everyone ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right, Chance.
Wait, hold on.
Okay.
It's still gonna be Doc Ock.
Yeah.
Yeah, just come back. Come to me last. Come to me last.
Okay, Robert,
Ian McKellen's Magneto.
Jay.
Chance.
I also have Thanos.
I had Doc Ock, but also Titans trailer bad.
No, it was a good trailer. Fuck you. Okay,
Thanos-
so Thanos at number 5.
God damn.
Thanos is better than Killmonger. Just saying. Hot
Nah.
take.
Not really a hot take.
I mean, that's a
A lukewarm take.
I just
It's
wanna
no
wait
Ryan Purvis and hot take.
to see
Yeah,
what
it's
Thanos.
no right purpose.
Alright, number 4. Okay. Okay, hold on. All right, you guys ready?
Yeah.
I've got Fassbender's Magneto. Robert,
McKellen's Magneto.
Jay,
throw me the idol. I throw you the whip. Doc Ock.
Thank
Chance.
fucking Christ, Doc Ock.
Okay, Doc Ock, number 4.
Okay, so what's left? It's both Magneto's, Killmonger, and
That's it.
Who else?
Those are the top
That's
3.
it.
oh, okay, so we're at 3. All right.
Mhm.
Yep, number 3. All right. Chance.
I got Fassbender, Magneto.
Damn it.
I also have Fassbender's Magneto. Robert,
McKellen's Magneto.
Jay.
I also have Fassbender's Magneto.
So Fassbender's Magneto is number 3. Okay, so now we are voting for the top spot for number 1.
I hate being left-handed. It's a bitch to write on a whiteboard.
All right, so this is for number 1. Robert,
I don't want the Magnetos next to each other, so number 1 should now be McKellen's Magneto.
McKellen, Magneto.
I have McKellen, Magneto. Jay.
Killmonger, my guys.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen. I think we had the almost the exact same thing happen with the DC when it was like both the Jokers.
Yeah, we didn't want the Jokers together.
Exact same
Yeah.
order. All right, I'll do the thing. I'll do the countdown in a minute. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of our top 7 list. And here's how we voted. Number 7, the Vulture. Number 6, Loki. 5, Thanos. 4, Doc Ock. 3, Magneto, Michael Fassbender. 2, Eric Killmonger. And number 1, best of all time, Ian McKellen's Magneto. What a great list, everybody. So I'm gonna go over to Robert real quick. What do you think of this format? Do you like coming on here and ranking them down like this?
Yeah, as somebody who's been on both last week's and this week's, I really like it. I think it can get a little bit long trying to rank a top 10, but I still really, really like it. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of interesting to see everybody's different takes, and to really get into some discussion with some people who are wrong saying that Kingpin should be in the top 10. So, but yeah, no, I really enjoy it. I always love being on these things.
Jay, as someone who is making their debut on this channel in this series, what are your thoughts on this whole process?
Y'all are a bunch of fucking bullies. Only one of my choices got on the list. No, like I said, I had a lot of fun. And Robert's right. Just getting to hear everybody else's choices and their thought processes behind what they do. He is right when he says it does take a little bit to. So it's a lengthy time process to wrangle in your top 10, especially when you have 4 people on. So like, yeah, that's 40 different choices if everybody goes differently. But I have fun, and I hope I'm asked to be back.
Oh, definitely, man. And Chance, as someone who is constantly on my channel, constantly taking over, but the first time on this series, your thoughts on this?
I mean, yeah, it's interesting. It's always an interesting way to talk movies. Kind of makes me want to start my own series with this very similar format.
Oh, really?
Possibilities, but
that'd be metal.
What would you call it?
Pretty metal.
It'd be very metal. It'd be full metal, actually.
Oh, he went there.
I went there. But no, this is fun, and I hate that I wasn't here to shut down Kingpin, but I'm glad I got to be on.
I hate that you weren't either.
You guys. All right, so let's go around and let everybody do their plugs. Chance, why don't you start off? Where can the good kids find you on?
Yeah, Twitter and Instagram at ChanceWars_91. You can find me at Full Metal Media, where I guess I can announce it here. I am bringing back Full Metal 5. It's coming back next week, and we are re-kicking that off with the best action movie sequels in honor of Mission Impossible Fallout, which is going to be super fun. You can also check out my YouTube channel, Chance the Critic, and check out the podcast that I do with my buddy Russell Howell, Notorious by Chance, on iTunes or wherever podcasts are found.
All right, Jay, where can the good nerds find you online?
So let me look at. You can find me on Instagram at bargang_Burns. You can find me on at jburns. You can find me on YouTube at jburnsreacts. You can find me on Twitter at jburns253, and you can find me again on Facebook at jburns.
Robert?
Sure, you can find me on Twitter and Letterboxd at RBRTPRKR98. That's my first and last name, no vowels plus a year. And then other than that, today I'm excited to announce there has been talks in the works for probably the last 6 months that a show with myself and Zach Ford was going to go off the ground. And it finally has. Today we have launched our first episode of our podcast called The Fireside Chit Chat, where we talk about all things movies, music, and other pop culture. We just kind of talk, and it's a free-form show. So that is on the Podbean app, iTunes, and everywhere else that podcasts are listened to at The Fireside Chit Chat. So make sure you check that out when you get the chance.
Definitely check that out. And before I do all my plugs and stuff, because that does take forever, our next week episode of the Nerd List is going to be our top 7 best Game of Thrones characters.
Oh,
so,
yes.
I want in on that.
Drama teacher?
Very much so.
For that one, that's going to be incredible. I can wear my Targaryen shirt finally. I can show it off with pride. And you guys can like this video, share this video around, subscribe to Film Nerd TV, check out my Patreon, my Stardust, my Twitter at Film Nerd TV, and you can also check out my my Twitch channel at Film Nerd Gaming. So thank you everybody for joining us, and we'll see you guys soon. Peace.